Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here. This is going to be a video response to Chris. Chris has the spins is his username actually. His what he labeled as his no subs cover contest. Chris is kind of new to the VC. I think he has one or two videos up right now, and just came up with this great idea of a great way to kind of jump in and meet people and kind of connect people in the VC. It's just do a no subs contest instead of waiting for a kind of a marker or whatever, which I think is probably one of the best ideas I've heard yet of someone kind of jumping into the VC. So first and foremost, Chris, welcome aboard, man. Had a chance to check out your videos, and yeah, you seem really down to earth. Definitely look forward to getting to know you and kind of your passions and some just kind of what drives you musically and all that great stuff, which is really kind of what the VC is all about. So definitely want to kind of support you and jump on board and do your response to your contest. I'm gonna try to remember to go back into and put a link down below to your channel so people can find this video. But yeah, as I mentioned, it was called the No Subs Cover Contest, and he basically had 20 questions that revolved around showing covers. So let's just kind of jump right into it. And I'm sorry the lighting isn't great. I mean, it's not like it's not movie quality when I do my other videos either, but I'm trying to be a little closer to my computer so I can see the questions here. So it's just not quite as good over here, but I mean, it's YouTube, so just work with me. Question number 1, an album cover you would like yourself, a significant other, or family member to recreate. That was pretty easy because I was actually thinking about this one just a few weeks ago. And I'm going to go with Dynasty by Kiss. Not only is it such a face album cover type of thing, but I was thinking about it because, I'm going to go see Kiss like in September. And, I've always wanted to go see Kiss in makeup. I've always wanted to do that. But, of course, you need at least 3 other people to do that because you put on makeup by yourself, you look kind of stupid in my opinion. So, just like I said a few weeks ago, I was thinking, man, it'd be awesome if there were 3 other people that would go that we could all do the Kiss makeup thing. So if I can get a significant other and a couple family members to do it, that would be great. So that's my pick for that one. Number 2, an album cover that makes you feel happy. I took that as not necessarily just the artwork, but just when you look at the album, it just, makes you feel happy. And I'm going to go back to this one, which you guys have heard me talk about a number of different times. Grease 2. I cannot look at this album cover. I cannot listen to a single note on a single song or watch that movie without just totally cracking up and being completely and totally happy. I just love everything about Grease 2. So that's definitely a cover that automatically makes me happy. Number 3, an album cover that makes you feel sad. Another easy one. Teddy Pendergrass. And really, you could pick any Teddy Pendergrass album, and it kind of makes me feel sad. And for those of you maybe that aren't familiar with Teddy Pendergrass, he was a huge upcoming and, actually star. Teddy P was kind of well known in the R&B and soul world. He was a guy who was very much a performer. He was the sex symbol type of thing. He was just the energetic stage presence, the whole 9. And so at the peak of his career, I can't remember if he was 32 or 34 years old, but at the peak of his career, he got into a car accident, paraplegic. He had just enough where he could move, he could flex his bicep and move his arms a little bit. So to go from being that type of performer to all of a sudden being a paraplegic, I've always kind of equated it to, it was like, Reeves going from being Superman to being a paraplegic. The only difference is TP really was a Superman in the R&B world. So every time I see those album covers, because it always kind of shows him in his, macho, kind of alpha, sex symbol, soul type of whatever. And so it just always reminds me of how he lost that because of that car accident. So that kind of always makes me sad. Number 4, sexy album cover. A few of these I have more than one pick just because I pulled out things where I was going to narrow it down, and like always, I'm like, screw it, I pulled it out, I'm just going to go ahead and show it. One that I would mention is Washed Out, Within or Without. That album, I think that cover is extremely sexy. I just didn't feel like pulling it off my wall. I have a signed copy of it, just didn't want to pull it down. But the other ones that I picked out that I was going to choose from was number 1, Placebo. This is Sleeping with Ghost. I've always thought that was a very sexy album cover. You know, of course it goes with the title very well, with Sleeping with Ghosts. As you can see, the woman there is kind of a ghost figure, and he has his hands around her waist, and her arms are around his neck, and just a really cool photo, I think. Kind of sexy, very creative. Not to mention, I love kind of that aqua blue type of color. A lot of the early Placebo albums, though, had really great covers. Oh, another one here. Never Enough by Melissa Etheridge. Another very cool album. And that's kind of a sexy power, if you will, cover, where she's standing, you know, her back to the camera. She has no shirt on, guitar kind of strapped around her back with the jeans. I mean, I think that's a pretty cool cover. And not to mention a great album with songs like Dance Without Sleeping and one of my favorite songs by her, which is Ain't It Heavy. Love that. And last but not least, this is an artist where literally, I mean, with I don't know how many albums she has, like 10, 15 plus, probably with live albums and everything else. But you can pick up any album cover by her, and it is just pure sexiness. And it is the one and only Diana Krall. And it really is amazing. I mean, there could be an album cover where she's just sitting at a piano and just playing. It's sexy as heck. Or you could look at one of her albums like Ragdoll, you know, where she's actually in garters and kind of lingerie, very sexy. Or kind of a more classier piece like this where she's just in a little black dress, sitting on a table, you know, just sexy. And that's one of the things I like about even her music, with the way that she does her vocal jazz, is she really brings that essence of kind of that classy, sexy nature to it, which I think is awesome. And besides, me looking at an album cover like that, I mean, come on. You come home and you have Diana sitting on a kitchen table in her little black dress, playing a Macintosh turntable, spinning vinyl. Yeah, because that happens every day. So, definitely a very sexy album cover there. What number are we on? 5. A boring album cover. There were 2 that I picked out for that. Number 1, New Order, Substance. Pretty boring, obviously. White, New Order, Substance, 1987. So kind of plain and to the point. So somewhat of a boring album cover, by far not a boring album. Freaking awesome album. And the same thing with LCD Sound System, 4533. Again, just kind of about as plain as you can get. And this is one of those, I'm not going to call it like club music or house music or anything, because it's not quite as like upbeat, but it's just kind of that same, you know, repetitive type of instrumental stuff, which normally I can't stand. I don't know why though. I love this album. I have no idea why. It's actually one of the genres I have the hardest time finding anything I like, and this album just does it for me for some reason. So that's boring album covers. Number 6, an album cover with the best dressed person / group. So I picked one person, I picked one group. Person, I'm going with Cab Calloway. I mean, come on, Cab is just kind of synonymous with the Zoot suit. So, had to go with Cab. And 2, I mean, I have so much respect for this guy. I mean, when you talk about just going back to the old days of, you know, not only dealing with the time period he was dealing with as a black man, but then also just being the pure entertainer that he was. I mean, it's just when I listen to him and when I see him perform and all that stuff, all I could think about is one of the people that lays the groundwork that just didn't really get a chance to reap all the rewards, you know, where most people are kind of reaping those today. And so definitely had to give the props to Cab on that. As far as a group best dressed, I'm going with my boys Cain and Abel. So as you can see, boy, they are ready to do a night on the town in those threads. Love it. So 1972, just kind of, some funk stuff, as you can clearly see from that time frame. But yeah, best dressed. You see those boots and everything, boy. Got to give them the nod. So number 7, an album cover with a female lead. Tried to pick something different, so I'm maybe not showing things I've shown in videos recently. Luscious Jackson. This is their album Electric Honey. What's her name was the lead singer. Probably best known, if you're not familiar with them, they had a song called Naked Eyes, which I think was probably their biggest hit, so to speak. But I couldn't stand that song. My favorite song by them is actually off of this album, which is Ladyfingers. So, yeah, that's Luscious Jackson. I actually worked security for them at a show one time. It was Luscious Jackson and Smash Mouth that I worked security for one time. So, had a chance to kind of meet them a number of years ago. What's next? Oh, wrong stack. Let's see, female lead. Your favorite box set cover. This is one that I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's kind of the one I think I kind of like for whatever reason, even though it's pretty simple. The Dire Straits set there. And I think mainly it's because, when this set first came out, I didn't have a chance to grab one. Then all of a sudden they went up to these ridiculous prices of almost $300 online. I just kind of thought I'd never get one. And so I was in this one little rinky-dinky shop one time about a couple hours from where I live, and they happened to have one sitting there, and the guy went way, way down. I mean, they were going for, like I said, $300 online. I didn't even pay half of that. And so, I don't know, I think maybe something about that, too, of just never thinking I would have one and wanting one and all of that. This cover just kind of, when I see it, I like it so much, even though it's so plain. Now, there could have been other covers that should have been better, like Iron Maiden, Dio, and all of those, but I think they really missed it on those box set covers, but that's a whole other video. Let's see. Number 9, cover of an album not many people own but should. I'm going to go with one of the greatest rap/hip-hop albums of all time. I have not seen a lot of people in the VC talk about this. I know Billy Crayon and a few others do, but Houdini's Escape is one of the best rap/hip-hop albums of all time. Everybody should own that piece if you are a rap fan. 5 Minutes of Funk, Freaks Come Out at Night, Friends, We Are Houdini. Slamming album. Let's see, so that was number 9. Number 10, an album cover with great artwork. There were 2 that I picked out for that. War, The World is a Ghetto. That's a very cool album artwork, especially when you have a cover that kind of has a lot of different scenes going on all at one time. So you can spend a good chunk of time just kind of looking through and seeing what's going on inside of each apartment, what's going on down on the street, and all that good stuff. And you get to do it while you're listening to some fantastic music. This is a must-have R&B/funk album right there. So that was one. And another one that I pulled out here too. This is 8 Bells. And I always want to say this band's name wrong. Sarachnoid Space. A little bit of kind of on the creative side of kind of using like a real life model, but then doing all these kind of strange effects. As you can see, it's kind of a gatefold. I didn't take it out there, but I thought that was kind of some creative artwork as well. So, number 11, a psychedelic album cover. Jane 3. I think that's pretty cool. Especially on the back. I really like kind of the girls in the corner there, which I think is kind of neat. And then a blues album cover. I'm going with the Big Bad Wolf. Howlin' Wolf, Blues from Hell. 2 LP sets, kind of a greatest hits type of thing. That's a really cool shot of of Wolf there. Matter of fact, they would have done the cover more justice if they had taken the letters off and just had the photo of Wolf. And a jazz album cover. You can never go wrong with pulling any Blue Note jazz album cover. So I decided to go a little bit different this time, and I went with Thelonious Monk, Crisscross. I think that's a really cool cover. Especially just kind of, the shot coming from kind of inside the piano there. I think it's just really, really classic cover. And a soul album cover. I went with the Delphonics. Great album. I mean, man, sporting a fro like that, I mean, come on. You don't get much more soul than that. Awesome album, awesome group, with songs like La La Means I Love You and Didn't I Blow Your Mind This Time and stuff like that. I mean, that's just classic soul and R&B. An album you think the fewest people have seen. One thing I don't see a lot of in the VC, or if there are channels that do talk about it, I haven't seen them, is a lot of 80s R&B. That doesn't seem to be a huge thing that I see a lot. So I went with 9.9 out of my ladies of the 80s R&B section. So, wasn't necessarily a huge group or whatever, but definitely one that I liked. Probably their biggest hit was a song called All of Me for All of You, which is off of this album. Definitely my favorite song by them. And just another one of those bands where if you probably weren't into 80s R&B, they probably never crossed your path. So I'd be very curious to know how many people are familiar with that group. So number 16, an album with your dream guitar or one you think is most appealing for those that don't play guitar. I know you're probably talking more about style of guitar, but I actually kind of took the question to think about it more so of a guitar I would like to own. Okay, so when I thought about it in those terms, I went with the burn-up guitar from Jimi Hendrix performance at Monterey. That's the Fender I would like to own. Just all crisp and burn up in a nice little shadow box hanging right on my wall. I mean, my favorite guitar overall, I'm kind of just a basic Les Paul kind of guy, but yeah, but that's the guitar I would like to have. Number 17, an iconic album cover. Of course, there's tons of those, Dark Side of the Moon and all kind of Queen stuff you can pick it on and on. I decided to go with, excuse me, Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA. I think it's a very iconic album cover, and, you can recognize that one from a mile away. Especially, I think it's kind of cool, too, when having a person on the cover without actually showing the face. I think that's something that also kind of adds some power to it, if you will. So that's what I chose. And it was really cool, too, because I think I mentioned this in video well in the past, but a couple years ago, I was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they had a special Springsteen exhibit they had set up. And one of the things they had in the case was the jeans, the hat, and the T-shirt from this cover, which was kind of cool. And just goes back to that iconic nature, because I remember standing there just like looking at it, and all I could think was like, that's the jeans and the hat and the T-shirt from the Born to Run cover. It's like, it's right there. That was really cool. But your favorite gatefold? Well, mine is going to be Jimmy. And of course, you guys all know this one, Electric Ladyland. Very, very iconic type of cover there. Don't want to do anything that gets me in trouble with YouTube. And let's see, number 19 was your oldest album. I don't know exactly. I guess I could have went in my database and kind of looked it up because I have the years in there. But it's just one of the things I don't pay that much attention to, and I just off the top of my head I couldn't think of what it was. So I have to skip on that one. But on the last question, the oddest, most obscure album cover. Again, wasn't quite sure where to go with that, so I just kind of picked one that I thought was kind of different, which is this one here. And this is Can't Have Nothing Nice. It's actually kind of an EP for 3 different bands, which forms a full album. Canyons, Tegan, and Foreign Theaters. It's basically metal is what you're looking at here. You also see this is a signed copy, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I actually met these guys. I think they were opening for, I think it was The Sword, if I remember correctly. In This Moment or The Sword, but I think it was The Sword. And yeah, just kind of a newer band, kind of up and coming, that type of thing. And just had a chance to meet them afterwards and wanted to support them and bought their album and they, signed it for me and all that good stuff. So, but that's a pretty kind of different album cover. I mean, it's definitely a lot going on when you kind of, see. So that's what I kind of picked as my kind of obscure album cover. But anyway, so there you go, man. 20 questions in almost 20 minutes. Yeah, again, great idea. Welcome to the VC. Glad I got a chance to jump on board your contest. And let me know what you think, and we will talk to you soon.